Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Angry and Ornery Show. We are very happy to have you tune in and listen to our shenanigans. This is, I think this is show number 11 or 12. Maybe somebody can help me out and let me know what show number this is. But it's a lot of shows into it already. Who would have thought? If you would like to come to our studio and watch us tape this show, then log into Second Life. And we will get you to our studio, and you can sit in and watch a live taping. And who knows, you might even appear on camera, because sometimes our camera guy, Florian, will film that audience. Also, we stream this live on Hitbox. And the show tapes every 2 weeks on Wednesday, every other Wednesday that would be. And you can check that out at hitbox.com. And finally, when we are finished and put all this together, we post this on YouTube, on our Angry and Ornery YouTube channel. Please check it out there and join it. You just need to join the channel, and you would receive all types of extra bonus information. So, and leave comments, please, and like it or unlike it, or do whatever you need to do, but give us some feedback. We'd love to hear from you and get your opinion on things. Now, speaking of overly opinionated, let's bring out our co-host, Lionheart. Coming out, sir.
I am not over-opinionated.
We are both over-opinionated. That's why we're TV and movie critics.
By the way, did you see that I just gracefully and beautifully walked out here tonight?
And only after 120 some shows.
Little gray cells.
I'm sorry, I'm stretching here.
I'm
yawning
you?
Let's have a seat. Let's have a seat and get into this, because I think we've got a lot of shows to talk about, don't we?
Okay.
Well, we better, right?
Yes, or else we're in a lot of trouble.
I hope you have something to talk about, right?
Yeah, if not, I got a great recipe for quiche.
Oh, well. We're not a cooking show yet, but who knows?
Yeah.
Things go badly. We might have to slip into that, yeah. Don't you cook mostly with vodka?
No. Lard and bacon and red meat.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, who's going to start? Let's just jump into it. I forget already. We just talked about this 5 seconds ago. You, all right. So what do you got for us?
Wow. All right. So I got a film that once I talk about it, you're going to want to see it really, really bad.
Nice.
I watched a romantic comedy. Very out of my norm.
Oh, boring. I'm leaving.
But what caught my eye is the cast. I watched the film that came out last year, Some Kind of Beautiful. The stars are Pierce Brosnan, Salma Hayek, Jessica Alba, and Malcolm McDowell.
Okay, done deal. Is it on DVD? How can I get it?
It starts off with Pierce Brosnan. He's a English professor over in Cambridge, and Jessica Alba is his love interest. She's one of his students.
Jessica Alba is my love interest.
Well, you're going to love this.
Wait, hold on. Before you go on, the audience is yelling rom-com, which is what I don't think we've ever done a rom-com, have we? I
don't think so.
I don't mean you and I have performed in a rom-com. I mean you and I have not
I don't
reviewed a rom-com.
I'm using quotes, chick flick.
Right. All right. Anyways, you haven't said the title yet.
Yes, I did. It's called Some Kind of Beautiful.
Some Kind of Beautiful. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So now I am, because you said Salma Hayek and Jessica Alba.
So he's having an affair with Jessica Alba. Well, I shouldn't say they're having an affair. They're romantically engaged with each other. And it's really nice because in the beginning she's in her little lingerie outfit, which was just...
Yeah.
But, so she announces to him that they're going to have dinner and they're going to meet some more family. So he goes to the restaurant where they're going to meet at, and in walks the very beautiful Salma Hayek. And she sits down at the bar next to him.
She's beautiful.
And they start flirting a little bit, and then in comes Jessica Alba, and here Salma Hayek is Jessica Alba's sister. So it's they're both
Latinas, so it could work.
Yeah. Well, they explain how why they are not exactly they're stepsisters,
Oh, okay.
half sisters. So at dinner, then Jessica Alba says she's pregnant and that they want everybody to move to California together. So they do, and once they're there for a few years and they have this beautiful baby boy, Jessica Alba leaves Pierce Brosnan for another man.
Mm.
And it was really.
Are you sure you're not just watching Hispanic soap opera on Telemundo?
No. And the guy she leaves him for is another big name newer actor. It's Ben McKenzie, the guy who's playing Gordon in the new Gotham TV series.
Right. He's just getting some film work, I've noticed.
Yeah. So you now have the two of them, Jessica Alba and him together, and of course what happens, Pierce Brosnan slowly starts to fall in love with Salma Hayek. Of course you have the whole storyline about his young son trying to raise him and everything, his immigration because he came over to the U.S. and now he's getting a divorce. You throw in the mix Malcolm McDowell as Pierce Brosnan's old drunkard father who, just has great views on the world, and it was funny and it worked, and it's just really, really good. I'm giving it a 5.
No, now all right. Now
yes.
we gotta set a precedence here. All right, enough is enough with your stupid 5.
Okay, I want to own this film. I want to see it again. It's a feel-good movie. It made me happy watching it. I laughed when I needed to.
It made you happy in your pants.
No, it's. You almost want to cry watching the film because it's very heartfelt. I guarantee you, if you do not,
why was this movie not advertised properly or marketed for the big screen?
What? There's a lot of films that are coming out right now that are really slipping under the radar that people are not knowing about, and I don't know if it's because they're coming up against huge blockbuster titles and theaters are opting out to show it. Because let's face it, when the Avengers Age of Ultron came out, in a local theater, it would be on half the screens. That's 5-6 screens that they're not showing other films on.
Right.
So, it could have gotten drummed out by something big. But
superheroes are beating up small films.
Yeah. If you can find this film, Some Kind of Beautiful, came out last year in 2014, watch it. Buy it. If you see it for sale someplace inexpensive, just pick it up. You'll love it. I guarantee it. I will give you a money-back guarantee right here on the show if you do not like it.
Will you somehow get me Jessica Alba or Salma Hayek's phone numbers?
I have Jessica Alba's autograph.
No, that wasn't Jessica Alba. That was a man just like Jessica Alba.
No, it was
he
her.
Shouldn't have signed your left butt cheek.
Well, no, it was her signing the restraining order.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, a 5 is a big number. I mean, and you've been throwing those out a lot in the last few shows here, so you might.
I'm sorry if I have taste and quality and watch good things. So.
But maybe you have no taste and everything seems like quality to you.
Over to you. What do you got?
Well, you need to review a bad movie once in a while, Lionheart.
I will.
And I'm going to review one that I don't think is bad, but it's certainly not a 5. And that is, I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2 on DVD last weekend, I think it was. And a lot of people, including yourself, told me that it was going to be horrendous. And there certainly are parts that may be not as good as your average quality superhero movie. But I want to say that it wasn't horrible. And in fact, it's not a 5, it's not a 4, maybe not even a 3, but I'd give it like a 2.5, maybe a 3. It was watchable. And what made it watchable, I suppose, is Emma Stone is in it. I'm not a big fan of this Andrew Garfield, who is the new Spider-Man, and now maybe the old Spider-Man, because Marvel has announced they're going to redo Spider-Man again. But regardless, Andrew Garfield does a fair job, and I didn't like him so much in the first Spider-Man movie, but in this one he kind of grew on me. Jamie Foxx is in it, playing Electro, one of the villains. Well, is he? It's kind of hard to tell if he's a villain or not. Newcomer Dane DeHaan plays the Green Goblin, and the thing about the Green Goblin is, it was done in the old Spider-Man movies, right?
Right.
What was his name that played him?
Willem Dafoe.
No, he was the father of the son became the Green Goblin. Famous actor he fell in the crack and
James Franco
James
was
Franco,
in the third
right?
film, and he was the
Oh,
new
is it
Goblin.
Right,
But
that's it.
Willem Dafoe was the original Goblin in the first Spider-Man.
Right. Well, anyways, there's a lot of backstory and build up for the Green Goblin in this one, and he doesn't even become the Green Goblin until like the last 10, 15 minutes, I think, of the movie, because you're so caught up with Electro. So it was one of these dual villain situations where you're not sure which villain is worse, kind of like the old Batman movies where there were just too many villains. Anyways, the fact is, it wasn't that bad. There was a couple of moments that I thought was actually pretty good. I hate to say it because I'm not a big fan of hers, but I liked Sally Fields, as Aunt May. She just fits the part, and she does a good job. Sally Fields is actually a really good actress, in my opinion. She's just a weird person. But overall, a good cast, great sets, lots of big action sequence. I think the Spider-Man flying and not flying, but shooting webs and going through New York City is a little overcooked, I mean, it's just like way too much CGI. They could have cut that down. But unfortunately, a lot of people aren't going to get this movie or see this movie because it just kind of, it's going to fall into that obscurity of way too many superheroes. But watch it. You would enjoy it. I think on a certain level, it's enjoyable. So, anyways, 2.5. It's worth a watch. Your turn.
All right. So I watched what was supposed to be, quote, one of the big summer blockbuster films that kind of fell a little bit flat on its face. I watched San Andreas, which came out this past summer. The new one with The Rock. About the big earthquake that happens in California. It had an interesting cast. You've got Dwayne Johnson, aka The Rock, of course. Alexandra Daddario is in it. Paul Giamatti has a small part. It's
going to fall into mediocrity along with Spider-Man,
right,
isn't it?
Well, here's the thing. Zoltan and I are old school. We're of the age that we were raised at the Passat Adventure and the Towering Inferno, and we remember those as, quote, a disaster film. Earthquake, right.
Is this not, Lionheart, just let me ask you right off the top, is San Andreas just not the third telling of the movie Earthquake?
Pretty much, yeah, it is. But where it fell flat is whereas the old films in the 60s and 70s, they say how campy they are. They used practical effects. When you're sitting there and you can tell it's a guy standing at a green screen and everything around him is CGI, that really ruins things. There's a scene at the beginning of the movie where it's supposed to be Paul Giamatti is at Hoover Dam. Mm-hmm. I live a few minutes away from Hoover Dam. I know what Hoover Dam looks like. I've been on it many a times. Could they not spend the $50 to taxi Paul Giamatti over to Hoover Dam? No, they do it all on green screen. Yeah. It was all completely fake, and I'm sure it cost them millions to do.
Right.
And it looked fake at times, and of course,
they can't use the real Hoover Dam because I'm sure it collapses at some point during the film, right?
In the first 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first few minutes, Hoover Dam explodes.
But
it was
what? I'm going to agree with you on the fact that the CGI is not that great in that, apparently, because in the trailer, which is all I've seen, where The Rock is flying in a helicopter and he flies down to pick up the girl who is on a building that's collapsing, and he grabs her in the nick of time as the building's exploding and the helicopter flies out. The whole thing looks like a cartoon to me.
Yeah, it really is over the top at times. It's also one of those unbelievable storylines that he's looking for somebody in the large city and they just happen to be at the same exact place at the same exact time, even though they said that they would meet someplace else altogether. It was really cliched, and it was really kind of stupid. And I just, I'm going to give it like a 2. I mean, it's one of those, If
Yeah.
you're really into The Rock or something like that, watch
Is it a good popcorn movie? I mean, you don't have to think about it type of film, or is it just so bad
You
you
know
can't even
what?
watch?
It's one of those you can't even get into a rhythm with it with popcorn. If you've got a lot of action going on, you can at least sit there going nom 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 with your popcorn. But if you sit there and it's like, oh, action, action, romance, action, 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 comedy.
Yeah.
You can't get into the rhythm, and it's just
Right. You don't know what the movie's trying to be.
right, and it just
Right.
kind of really.
Well, if you want to see a good earthquake movie, then I'd recommend. Well, the original called San Francisco, I think, was probably the best. But even 30 something, yeah. But even with Charlton Heston and Earthquake was probably better.
Yeah. It was.
I can watch that over and over again.
Oh yeah, but
Okay. Moving on.
Moving on to you, sir.
All right, so I got a TV show now, and what a beautiful surprise and delight this ended up being. Just when I give up hope on, is there anything still, can they make funny TV? I found Vicious. Now, you've seen this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, so darn it, because what I was going to give you as a bet was that I will watch your rom-com if you'll watch the first season of Vicious.
Yeah, I've seen the first season of Vicious.
Well, locally they're airing it on PBS, and it comes in bits and pieces. So we're getting it sometimes Saturday night, sometimes Sunday night. I catch the DVR catches it at weird times. It's only a half-hour show from England, of course. It's a BBC show about a elderly gay couple, played by Derek Jacobi and Ian McKellen. And as you guys know, McKellen as Gandalf and Magneto, of course, gay in real life, and I believe Derek Jacobi is also.
Yes, he is.
Right, it's pretty obvious. I don't think you can. Well, anyways, he's the two of them are quote in love, but the reason why they call it Vicious is because they're so mean to each other. I mean, we're talking guys in their 80s, and they're just always just jabbing and cutting on each other and poking fun at each other. And I mean, it's vicious humor too. I mean, they pull no stops. And it's non-stop funny dialogue, very dry, very British, very intelligent. But the cast are just loony. There's 6, 7 cast members, and it kind of comes off as a play, like a teleplay, doesn't it?
Right.
It feels like you're watching a theatrical production. Because the gay guys' flat, I guess they call it, their apartment looks very much like a theatrical set. But anyways, I don't know who writes this dialogue. I mean, it's creators are Gary Janetti and Mark Ravenhill, but there is. I mean, they cover all the subjects too. And they're just small subject matters, like they learn how to ballroom dance, or they're telling one of the guy's moms that's still alive that they've been together and they're a gay couple for the last 35 years or 40 years or whatever it's been. And they just get into these bizarre. And then there's this straight couple, man and woman, a young kid and his girlfriend that come over, and they kind of treat them like their parents or something. But it's just this weird collection of oddball characters. But what I find the most charming about it is Ian McKellen. Did you know he had this kind of comedy timing and he was this funny?
Yeah, it was a surprise. It was a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, he's very droll and dry, but yet the humor is so smart and so contemporary. I mean, this is stuff that they've only had one season out, right? Oh, 2 seasons, I guess.
They're on season 2 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, 2013. Would they skip 2014? Because it seems like season 2.
Because of his busy schedule.
Okay. So catch it. I don't know if it's out on DVD yet. Do you know, Lionheart?
The first season is, but the thing is sometimes when they release it over here in the U.S., it goes by its actual title that it's in the over there in Britain, which is Vicious Queens, is the actual full title.
Oh, okay.
So,
Because
but
the
here in
logo.
the US, yeah, here in the US, for some reason, when it's airing on TV, they've just condensed it to Vicious. So, over there and everything, it's referred to as Vicious Queens. So,
Oh, and by the way,
yeah.
they've been together for 50 years as a gay
Yeah.
couple, but their humor is just spot on, and you will. I mean, every episode I've laughed out loud to the point of crying. You know, just tears streaming down my face because you've got to listen really close, and the humor comes by you rapid
It's
fire,
fast. Yeah.
very fast, and I just. What a pleasure to find this out of, obscurity. I was literally flipping through the channel and saw McKellen, and I'm like, oh, wait, what's this now? And it was like the beginning of the episode, and I watched the whole episode, and then I called in the family to watch the second episode, and now we're hooked. I'm DVRing it all the time, and I'm looking for it on DVD. So do yourself a favor, watch this. It is just funny. Pure British hilarity. I give it a 4.5, not completely a 5, because there are some production problems. It's a little jerky in a few places, and some of the jokes might be a little cliche, but overall, it's very close to a 5. So a good solid 4.5. Vicious. Watch it on PBS. Get the discs. What do you got?
Okay. I've got a TV show. After your roaring review of True Detective on one of our last shows,
Big show.
was able to watch season 1. But then I was able to surpass you ever so slightly, and I watched season 2. So
that's because you watch things illegally.
No, I do not.
I didn't say that, FBI. We're just joking.
Thank you. As they bust down my door and I'm handcuffed, and I will say you were my co-conspirator the whole time.
You pay for HBO and you watched it like a proper gentleman.
On Amazon.
Oh.
Yes,
okay.
Streaming that way. Anyways, as you know, True Detective is its own set stories, much like American Horror Story, just to give you a refresher. So season 2 has nothing to do with season 1. It's its own set story. This new season stars Colin Farrell, Rachel McAdams, Taylor Kitsch, the guy from the very horrible John Carter of Mars, and then
I like that movie.
The last person to round it out is Vince Vaughn. Now, I was very hesitant to watch season 1 because I'm not a big McConaughey or Woody Harrelson fan.
Fair enough.
I loved season 1. Zoltan was right. It blew me away. I was very, very scared because I'm not a Colin Farrell fan. I'm not a big fan of Vince Vaughn. I was very kind of worried. So
I'm in that pocket now.
Yeah, I went into it, and man, it had me hooked better than season 1. And it was I binge watched, and I don't usually do that. And it is a fantastic storyline. And basically, what it is you have a murder going on in this one, obviously, and you have McAdams, Kirsch, and Farrell are all 3 different types of law enforcement. You've got a motorcycle cop rider for the highway patrol. You've got one that's a cop from a small town. You've got one that's a sheriff. So they're all 3 put on this case together to form a task force because the dead person had ties to everybody. So that was interesting enough as is. So getting into it, it's not like season 1. This one is a true mystery. You're trying to figure out who did what and why and who's screwing over who. So the big thing that was worrying me was Vince Vaughn, who's kind of an anti-hero in it. But man, he was my favorite part of the whole series. He kicks ass.
This isn't 2 detectives joining together again, is it?
It's 3 detectives put together on a task force.
Okay.
They're not friends. They don't want to be friends.
And it's modern day.
It's modern day. It's very kind of noir-esque at times. There's a lot of animosity because everybody's boss wants their person to solve the murder and want it to go away as quickly as possible because there's so much corruption. It's not funny. I mean, you figure out right off the bat who's in whose pocket, who's doing what. So it's one of those, they just almost wish this murder would just be solved and go away as quickly as possible, even if it's not the right answer. Watched the whole season, loved it, thought it was great. Vince Vaughn kicked major booty for me. He was fantastic in it. He should win an award.
I have my doubts that I'm going to like him or that I will like him, as you know. But then I thought the same way about Woody Harrelson and McConaughey. So
yeah, but then I got to the last episode, and I'm not alone on this.
No spoilers.
I'm not going to spoil it. You were in the room when I was talking to another person about it, and they said the same exact thing I did. The last episode ruins it completely. You take this great storyline and you just get so cliched and ruin it so bad that it's not funny. And it really made me hate the season because of that one episode. I'm still going to give it like a 3.5, 4.
Well, rate it without the last episode, and then rate it with the episode.
You know what? With the last episode, it's a 4.5, almost 5. Just like how you gave season 1. Season 1 was, damn near perfect.
It was near
season
perfect.
2, yeah. Season 2 is near perfect without the last episode.
When you
put the last episode in, you get too much cliche. And just the ending is just, you sit there and you're like, really? You went this route to end it? Really? There's so much more they could have done, and they just did this quick little, we're going to do this. And it didn't work for me. It felt jerky. It felt like it was unnatural. Like maybe they had something else planned and they switched it at the last minute, is what it felt like to me. So, but yeah, if you can get a chance to watch it, watch it. Especially you, Zoltan. I want to know what your
Well, I'm just waiting for the drop date, and what is it, this week, next week, when is it?
No, it actually doesn't drop for a while.
I thought it was September. September.
No, they haven't even announced when Season 2 is going to drop. Oh, that's why I had to pay for it and watch it, download it that way.
Do we know anything about Season 3, like who might be in it? Okay, yeah, they keep it under lock and key. It's tight as a drum, so...
Right.
All right.
But you have to remember, Season 2 only just finished on TV on HBO like 3 weeks ago or so.
Oh, well, I thought it was a couple of months already.
No, it was like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. Well, I go next. Did you do 3? I don't think you only did 2.
I got 3.
Oh, okay. So this is my 3rd, right?
Yes, sir.
Losing track a little bit. I wanted to end the show with a very I guess well talked about. I'm not going to say popular, but certainly well talked about TV show, and that's the spin-off from The Walking Dead called Fear the Walking Dead. Keep in mind that we're only 2 episodes into this, but already there's major hubbub going on, and different opinions are flying about. So I thought I'd get mine in the ring before it got too late. It was a little odd that they skipped the Sunday. Last week they didn't air an episode. I think they might be doing that to work out the timing with The Walking Dead when that finally airs, the new season in October. So I think they're going to try to get the Fear the Walking Dead's first half of the season in before The Walking Dead debuts, and then they'll take a hiatus, like a mid-season break thing. And then when Walking Dead takes its break, then Fear the Walking Dead will come back, that kind of thing. I hope they don't do that, but I don't see how they couldn't, because people are going to be comparing those shows together when it airs, right? Don't you think that's going to be a major problem? Right. Yeah. Anyways, do I like it? Yes, I definitely like it. There is a couple of weird things going on, though, and that is, I think the writers knew that Walking Dead fans would be watching this and expecting certain things out of the show, like zombie apocalypse, and the way the zombies work and act, and the disease, and the characters, and how they discovered this and all that. So they have gone out of their way to write a preface, if you will, to Walking Dead. We're going to make you think something, and then, you're wrong, haha. Like false starts to the apocalypse, for example. Incorrectly trying to make us believe that patient zero is this zombie. Oh no, maybe it's that zombie. You know what I'm saying? They're throwing in these wild goose chases and puzzlers to make us think that this is going to be like The Walking Dead. And I think they desperately are trying to make it not like The Walking Dead. So it's got a very slow pace to it. You are learning a great deal about the main characters. Currently, it's Kim Dickens who plays Madison, and her husband, Cliff Curtis, who plays Travis, and their children and stepchildren and so forth. But we see them going to work. We see them with problems outside of the apocalypse. You know, even before the apocalypse begins, they have relationship issues and ex-wives and husbands and what have you, and the kids are problematic. One kid has a heroin addiction, and they're concentrating a lot on that, and then suddenly this apocalypse is slowly popping up, very much like Shaun of the Dead. If you remember that movie, we love that movie, right? You know how Shaun was like walking down the street and the zombies were actually eating people, and he didn't notice because it looked just like the day before. Right. Well, Fear the Walking Dead is like that. Exactly the same way. It's like there's all this stuff going on. Are you watching the news? No, the TV and the news is on in the background. I'm not paying attention because I'm talking on the phone or I'm eating dinner. But what they're saying on the news, if any smart person would see this, that holy crap, the world is ending, pay attention. And it's funny because like one of the little nerd boy students at the school that one of the main characters teach at already knows that the zombie apocalypse is coming, and he's making preparations, and he's trying to warn people, but because he's this zitty-faced little nerd boy, no one's paying attention to him. But like he's the wisdom, the voice of reason that, grab food, grab weapons, shore yourself up, you're about to all die. Nobody's listening to him. So there's a lot of that right now, and I hope this whole series isn't this way. This sounds really evil and horrible. I just want the apocalypse to happen already. Let's get on with it. Burn the damn buildings down. Let the zombies start running about amok, biting and chasing and killing, right? I know I'm not that way. I'm a nice guy, right? I'm worried that there's too much drama here, and too much character development, that they're over-engineering this series. Now, have you seen the first two or not?
No, I have them on DVR, and I plan on watching them soon.
Okay, well, do so, and tell me, let me know on air, next show maybe, if I'm not correct on this. It's just, man, there's a few zombies in there, and there's been some gross scenes already, but nothing like The Walking Dead. So maybe it needs to rev up, and, I don't know. Walking Dead caught me from day one. I loved the first episode. It's probably one of my favorite episodes.
Well, look at Walking Dead, the original series.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the first one just caught me. I loved it.
It takes a little while, even then, for the show to get going because you have Rick wake up and you're really not too sure what all happened. And, I think it's a good while before you have your full-on zombie outbreak, and that's not even until he gets to the city with all the zombies.
Show 1, episode 1, season 1, you immediately know the apocalypse has happened, and that there are now roving bands of zombies eating people.
You know it's happened, but you're not seeing it yet.
Right. We had no background on it. We don't know where it originated from. We don't know, what caused it and all. And in Fear the Walking Dead, we still don't know that, but yet we're seeing it slowly deteriorate society. Yes, and as is my speech. But anyways, I just think that it's not quite as good as The Walking Dead yet. So on that level, in just the first 2 episodes, I'll throw my review in the ring and say I'm giving it like a 3.5, maybe a 4 at times. And I give Walking Dead a 5. So it's got a lot of catching up to its big brother.
All right.
That's my review of that. But you know what? I'll probably end up loving it.
Yeah.
You got anything else?
I am done.
All right.
Take a fork in me.
Yep. I think next show, if the kind audience will tune in, we have a special guest, but I'm not absolutely positive if that's true or not, but unless I hear a confirmation. I think we have a special guest, and it's somebody really cool. How's that for a promo?
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Wow, you're as fake as I am.
Yes.
Well, listen, come to Second Life and contact Zoltan Mint, and I will get you to our studio, and you can enjoy a show as we tape it. And if you can't do that, then watch it on Hitbox. It streams live there, and it's a really cool website to catch things like this. Finally, in a day or two, maybe even by tomorrow night, we will have this show up on YouTube at the Angry and Ornery channel. Please like us and or join us and leave us some input. But other than that, thank you all very, very much for coming out here, and we'll see you all in the movies. Good night.
Night.